AI native, AI emergent, and obsolete. So, everything we're going to talk about in this lesson, you have to understand it's not going to be uniformly distributed across industries. So, I wrote a blog post called The Law of Uneven AI Distribution. The basic premise here is the the benefit you gain personally in your consumer life or in your career depends on three key variables. Do you have access to it? So do you understand it? Do you realize what it's capable of doing? Once you understand it, do you have access to it? Are you allowed to? Do you have the money to afford it? Does the governance within your organization allow you to have access to it? Are there gatekeepers keeping you from it? So you have to be able to use the technology. And then the last component is you have to be willing to give up what is required to get it. So your acceptance of the technology. And in a lot of cases, that is your data and your privacy. So if you work in a highly regulated industry, even though the AI technology is there to be used and you understand it, you might not be allowed to use it by the gatekeepers in your company. And you may not, because they may not accept what has to be given up to get the benefit. So, for example, these AI agents we've been talking about that sound awesome, like they're going to be able to go and book flights for me and send my emails. The way they're going to work initially is you have to give them access to everything. They have to be able to manipulate your keyboard, your mouse, your browser. And so they're probably seeing and recording everything that happens on your device to be able to then take actions on your behalf. They're going to need access to your bank accounts, access to your social security number, access to your flight numbers. Like they're going to need access to everything, your calendars, your emails. The way they will work is by having a whole bunch of access to your data to make predictions about what you want to do next, basically, and then be able to take those actions. So there's going to be a lot of people who aren't willing to give that up. Those agents may be really good by the end of 2024, but you and your business will have to make a choice. Are we okay with what is going to be required to have access to that? So again, if you're in healthcare or financial services, legal, there's a chance that you're going to lag behind in adoption simply because of this law of uneven AI distribution. If you're in SaaS, you work in Silicon Valley, you may care a lot less and just kind of like roll with it. And you're going to use all the latest, greatest technology. So again, AI native, AI emergent, obsolete is going to happen at different time spans based on personal preferences and the company and industry that you work for. So it's really, really important to understand that overall. So an AI native company is a startup. This is someone who says, I'm just going to go build a smarter version of the company. They have domain expertise, most likely. So let's say someone at a marketing agency, they've been in an agency for 15 years, but that agency is being run by kind of some legacy staff and they don't really want to change. And the client base isn't really receptive to change. But this person's convinced they can do this in a smarter way. So they just go and start from the ground up building an AI agency. So what happens in these AI native agencies or companies is they look at ways to apply language, vision, predictive capabilities into the business. They build smarter from the ground up. They apply it not just to marketing, but sales, service operations, IT. They're way more efficient with resources. They need fewer people. They need less money to get going. They think bigger about what's possible. They're probably more willing to take risks. They put a premium on the value of data from the beginning. And they're able to just kind of build these smarter businesses that can very quickly come to disrupt that established organizations within an industry. So an example that we've talked about throughout this series is Descript. This is a company that just built smarter software from the ground up. There's plenty of software companies out there doing all of these things: transcription, video editing, screen recording, podcasting. You could go get all kinds of existing software to do it. There wasn't someone that had kind of had the vision to build all of these tools in a smarter way and make them insanely affordable. So when we started using Descript, I think it was like $15 per user per month to have access to all of this incredible technology. And they, in exchange, started disrupting all these different categories within technology. So that's an example of a company that's just being built smarter from the ground up. An AI emergent company, again, is more likely where you work today. This is an established organization, but what you want is visionary leaders who are willing to take risks and to go in a new direction. They're likely making investments in AI talent. They're innovating faster. They're looking at ways to drive personalization in all aspects of the business. They have existing data, customer bases, and infrastructure, and they're taking advantage of those. And in an ideal world, like they have the money to go acquire some of these AI native companies if they can find a fit to do it. So they're basically, their choice is we're going to disrupt ourselves before someone else comes along and does it for us. Either one of our peers who becomes AI emergent faster than us, better than us, or an AI native company that comes along out of nowhere and just disrupts our model. An example here that's always sort of stuck with me is I saw this job posting for Netflix. I think it was on LinkedIn. This got shared, but Netflix, if you recall, was a DVD mail company. You would rent DVDs and they would send them to you in mail. So starting back in 1997. But this is a fall 2021 job listing, and just like look at the highlighted things. The way they explain this job for an intern. Netflix is reinventing entertainment from end to end. We're revolutionizing how shows and movies are produced, continuously improving the personalization of our entertainment to 200 million members. The applied machine learning research at Netflix improves various aspects of our business, and they go into all the different ways that it's actually applied. So I just love the fact that they're continually changing who they are, continually becoming a smarter company, going back to their roots of a DVD rental company that sent these things by mail. So the question becomes, especially if you're a leader of a company, what are you or should you be reinventing and revolutionizing with smarter technology? Because it's time to start figuring out the answer to that question before other people in your industry do it first. So really think about what can we become? What does an AI emergent version of our company look like? Now, to give you an example, so I do a lot of public speaking. I talk to a lot of different groups. I was doing a talk for 300 CEOs of accounting firms, and so I wanted to try and like show them what's possible. So I, of course, just went into ChatGPT and said, "You're an accounting firm leader. Consider ways your firm can leverage artificial intelligence to boost business reach and revenue, make operations run more efficiently and effectively." Enhance marketing efforts, save money, make client experience more personalized. And then I said, like, create a 10-point plan for building a next generation accounting firm, in essence. And of course, Chat GPT does it. And so it goes through and kind of builds out a 10-point plan. And again, I'm not an expert in running an accounting firm. I can look at these and think, well, this makes a lot of sense based on what I do know about running an accounting firm. But the actual leaders of the accounting firm can look at these outputs and they can say, wow, this makes a lot of sense. Like 5 of these are really logical areas that we should start thinking about. And so if you wanted to build a vision for what does a smarter accounting firm, what does an AI emergent accounting firm look like beyond just marketing, this is a really quick starting point. And obviously you could keep going and say, okay, what are ways we could drive cost reduction? What are some other things we think about with client risk assessments? What, specifically our clients are in this industry. How should we think about that? So you could really start to build the frameworks of a plan that gives you something to start working with. And so the way I think about this is you can be smarter from the ground up. Most of you are going to work for companies that choose to be smarter from an existing base because the alternative isn't very good. If you just let the business world get smarter around you, if you don't seek knowledge about this or don't work for a company that encourages you to do this, and you have leaders that resist change, you're not actively running pilot projects, you're not assessing problems in a different way, your leaders are really thinking AI is just this overhyped bubble, then the outcome is you're probably just going to stay in the state you're in and just wait around to be disrupted. And in my opinion, that's not a really good place to be. So I get that this can be frustrating and overwhelming and uncertain and abstract to try and figure AI out, especially when you're thinking big picture like this. But that's okay because it's better than the alternative of just being obsoleted. So AI, the way I think about this, doesn't replace all the good stuff you're doing. It doesn't replace the products and services, the people, the amazing experiences, the brand, the culture, all of that still matters. But if all of that is equal, and that's what we know goes into building a great business, and everyone is doing that, then the competitive advantage that can be gained by the companies who also figure out how to layer in AI, how to become a smarter organization, and they have the business foundations, that's going to be nearly impossible to overcome that. So the main takeaway here is choose to be, if you are the leader, or to work for, if you are the employee, an AI native or AI emergent company. Because you don't want to be left sitting in an obsolete company when everyone else passes them by.